There are about 4 or 5 groups, which really surprised me. When you're walking along the path, it just seems like a motorway. There's a constant flow of tourists coming either way.
After a steep climb, Jane and Estee arrive at the Sherpa capital, Namche Bazaar. Namche Bazaar has been a trading town for over 400 years. At the Saturday market, Sherpas still meet to buy and sell their wares. But while some of them still trade in the traditional way, the vast majority of them have a new business: tourism.
It seems to be fairly westernised as well. It seems to cater towards the taste of the Westerners. They have lodges everywhere, just on the sides of the mountains, and you can come in and hire your down jacket if you're going a bit higher up and you haven't got one. And sort of obviously you have hundreds of stalls everywhere trying to sell you more kits and more souvenirs. And it seems that the main livelihood in the area is not farming or anything, it's selling stuff to Westerners.
Trek cooks no longer buy the food for expeditions here. Too many tourists with too much money have driven up the prices too high.
Because of the increase in the number of tourists coming here, everyone has gone into the tourism industry. They're no longer concentrating so much on agriculture, so less food is grown in the area, and that's why the prices have gone up. The way I see it is, for those government officials and for people who work with tourists, these prices are easy to pay. But for those not involved in the tourist trade, life is hard.
Although Ang Ferber bought all the group's food in Kathmandu, by the time they reach Namche Bazaar, they're ready for a few home comforts.
What
was the price like?
Price is going more high up.
Throughout the Khumbu, young Sherpas with money earned from tourists are taking on the ways of Westerners.
When the societies become economically well developed, then people like to wear new fashions and new dresses, and people like to adopt every new thing. But at the same time, we still have a monastery. We still worship and in traditional way. Therefore, we are proud to say that still we have our own culture and society.
While his group have a rest day, Ang Ferber goes to visit friends, a day's walk away from the Everest Trail. Tourists rarely come here. The villagers grow their own food. Potatoes are the main crop, and every household has its own field. Mingma Tsering and his wife Samji are not directly connected to the tourist industry, but their lives are affected by it. They told Ang Ferber that when they do go to Namche Bazaar, the prices are harder than ever to afford. To cope with these new prices, they now rent their yaks out to trekking groups. Ang Ferber, like most Sherpas, is a Buddhist. At Teng Bochi Monastery, he prays for his family and for the success of the trek. At the end of a hard day, the group also reached the monastery, one of the main tourist attractions on the Everest Trail.
3,825 metres, so it's getting colder. And the clouds are coming in earlier, so we'll settle down with about 200 or 300 other people here tonight. So you look at the monastery over here, which is just old and undisturbed, and you look at the massive campsite down here, which is, it's a shame, but that's hypocritical of me to say really, because I'm camping here tonight too.
The byproducts of the goods brought in for Westerners, cans, wrappers and empty bottles, aren't carried out. At this altitude, materials like paper and cloth take years to biodegrade. But of all the litter problems, glass bottles are the worst. Lodges profit by selling beer and soft drinks to trekkers, but nobody will pay to carry the empty bottles out. Mingma Norbu has been fighting the glass bottle problem for several years now. He showed us a pile which he and volunteers had collected, but since collection, the helicopter flights which used to carry them to Kathmandu have been stopped.
We requested the beer companies to solve this problem and the Coca-Cola companies, but they didn't take any attention, so we don't know what to do with these bottles. The solution is to ban the bottle from this national park and use environmentally friendly metals such as aluminum can. Cans can be recycled here. The blacksmith used to make a pot.
Many tourists buy bottled drinks because they don't trust the drinking water supply, and it's hardly surprising.
The toilet tents are about maybe about 25, 30 metres away from the river. We're on a sandy-ish soil, and basically anything that's in that is going to go straight into the river. And I think the main problem with that is that the people who live here are probably taking water out from just downstream of our toilet tents. It is a potential problem, especially when people have stomach problems.
In the short term, education is seen as the solution. Trek leaders now know that toilet holes must be dug deeper and further away from the water supply. Whilst human waste remains a problem, Ang Ferber and the other Sherpas are finding ways of dealing with the general litter. At 4,200 metres, while the trekkers leave the camp, he takes litter from near the campsite to the local dump, one of several in the area.
Until tourists came, we didn't have rubbish like this. We didn't understand about rubbish. The kind of stuff we threw away would rot quickly, but up here, plastic and paper never rot. Then we realized that people would stop coming here if it was a mess, and we wouldn't have any business. For us, it makes sense to keep the place clean, because tourists come here for the beauty, and that's how we make our living.
After 10 days, Jane and Estee are on the final tough climb to the Everest viewpoint, Kala Patthar, high above the Khumbu Glacier.
We're now at sort of 5,600 metres, so the air is very thin and we had to stop lots. But we got up to the top and the views are just, you can't describe them, it's just fantastic.
It's absolutely spectacular. Every bit of pain that we have endured coming up that mountain has been worth it. It's beyond words, you can't even describe how beautiful it is, it's just amazing.
Next year, even more trekkers will come here using more trees, more water, bringing yet more litter, and of course, money. Ang Ferber will benefit from this trend, but what will it mean for his children?